going on, guys? Snaggy here, and it's time to review round 26 of the 2025 NRL season. Round 26. Only one round to go, boys. How good has this year been? I mean, seriously, normally, especially last couple of years with the Dolphins been in and we've sort of gone to round 27. By about round 21, 22, I'm like, I know the top two teams here. Let's wrap this thing up so we can get into the finals. This year, man, like I'm still up in the air. I'm like, I don't know who's going to win this thing. People keep asking me, who do you think's going to win the comp? And I won't make my call till the final siren of the Knights versus the Eels. I'll probably know before then because that's just. When next round finishes, that's when I'll know who I'm going to tip to win the comp. But right now, I've got no damn idea. I really don't. I've got an idea. Just not many of them. I don't know, boys. It's going to be tough. All right, boys. Before we get into it, we had another winner, our competition winner. That's 2 in a row, boys. Nicholas Z. His tip was Josh Adokar, Hamaso, and AFB. Knights love to concede a cheeky try to props. That little comment there got me over the line because that's something that I would say and tipped as well. So that's $480 I'm transferring to bro as soon as I get his details. Congratulations, bro. What a win. Now, that's why I pick them. Like, I pick a random one, but I have a look through, and when I pick one I like, I'm like, that's nice. I hit it, and that's why we've hit 2 from 3. I mean, that's 2 $500 payouts in 3 weeks. That's some pretty good strike rate, bro. So, congratulations, bro. That's awesome. We'll keep rolling. So I'm actually really enjoying this. We'll roll into the finals with it. And then I was thinking about next year, I might crank it up and do 5 or something, and try and give away some serious coin. And then we can sort of add it up at the end of the year. And I can be like, I gave away $20,000. But hopefully, that'd be pretty cool if I gave away 20 grand. Why not? Why not? It's me giving back for you having to listen to my ramblings every week, all right, boys? But, yeah, congratulations, bro. If you do want to enter that, boys, make sure you subscribe. When I drop my preview video, you just drop a bet that you're thinking about liking. Maybe you don't. Maybe you can put it down yourself too, I guess. And I'll put it down for you if I like it. If it wins, money straight into your account, boys, all right? Now, the funny thing was, plenty of people on Dabble copied that one too. I think about 120 people copied it. And then I think the week before, about 120 people copied it on Dabble as well. So that's pretty awesome. If you're not already, boys, make sure you follow me on Dabble and make sure you join our Discord as well. Over 2,000 punters in there now, talking absolute rubbish in there. I love it. All right, let's get to the footy. Doggies defeat the Panthers. No, not St. Helens. St. Mary's, I should say. Eels, massive upset, 26-22 to the Wars, pushing the Wars out of the top 4. Roosters, with a second half from the gods, defeat the Storm 40-10. Raiders defeat the West Tigers 24-10. Did I just say that twice? Did I just say that twice? Now I need to sneeze. God damn, this video's off to a cracking start. Anyway, you can see the scores there. If I did say it twice, my bad. Seagulls 40-24 against the Dragons. Broncos, I loved this game, and I loved Cowboys jerseys even more. 38-30. Sharkies get it done against the Knights 40-16, and Dolphins, I love this game. I love high scoring close games. They're just so awesome. 36-30 Bunnies with the bye. Let's have a quick look at the ladder. So Canberra Raiders lock up the minor premiership with a game to spare. Shout out to them, man. Look, someone put a little compilation of all the, not influencers, that's the wrong word, all the NRL podcasts and all that sort of stuff, who pretty much everyone put them as the spoon or bottom 13. I think even that Timmy dude from the Canberra Raiders is from the goes for the Canberra Raiders, and he had them, I think, 14th or something like that. I'm very proud to say that I did not feature on that video because I did not doubt you that hard. I did doubt you could win the wooden spoon. I think I had you 7th or 8th, but I did not have the Canberra Raiders for outside the top 8, which I'm very proud of. I'm very proud when I don't make those featured lists of being wrong on there. So I've done all right there, I think, boys. All right, even though I think I did make this makes it not sound quite as cool, but I'm pretty sure I did say Raiders ceiling probably would be 7th or 8th. But yeah, you know, I'll still take it. I'm not on that. I'm not on that compilation getting around of all the footy people talking smack about the Raiders. Now, so that means we have Storm and Bulldogs locked in for a semi-final, a non-knockout semi-final. Broncos up into the top 4. Sharkies on the same points, but much worse points differential. Waz into 6th. Panthers 7th. Roosters 8th. And then we have the Dolphins here on 9th. And technically, Seagulls still in it, but they ain't playing finals, bros. They'd have to run up a literal cricket score and need both these teams to lose as well. So that ain't happening. That ain't happening. And then we have the rest. Now, from this point on, we don't trash these teams and talk about what they could do better. Let's talk positively about these teams here. That's what I really hate about the NRL media. We get to this time of the year, and all they do is talk about these teams. Who cares, bro? Let them rebuild. Let them get their stuff together, and let them have a crack next year. Let's talk about these teams. Let's talk about these teams, all right? I reckon the Tigers got more media coverage than the Panthers last year in the final series. Oh, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. But anyway, all right, let's go. Doggies Panthers. Lockie Galvin, Preston Campbell 2, Matt Burton 1, Jacob Preston 1. And then Paul Adamotti, we hit our double up in this one too. We have been slapping our try scorers lately too, just quietly. We have been absolutely murdering the punt on especially the try scorers. Double ups, I reckon I'd have to check, but I'd say are just over 50%, which is, we want it to be better than that. But try scorers have been slapping. And that's, if we're hitting a 50% of the double ups even, and the try scorers are hitting, we're sweet, bros. We are sweet. Normally we want the double ups to be quite a bit above 50%, so because the try scorers are a lot more patchy, but it's been the other way around this year. It's been bloody great. Look, this is one of these ones where I'm a bit on the fence with the Bulldogs and with the Bulldogs. We can't take anything out of this from the Panthers because they didn't play a single grade player. But we can talk about the Bulldogs. Now, they came out. Now, this is going to be hard for me because this is a 24-point win, but would anyone, including Bulldogs fans, disagree with me? It looked pretty clunky at the start. I thought it looked very clunky. I thought... Now, this is why I'm a little negative, right? Just a little bit. I don't want to be too negative on the Bulldogs. They've just made the top 4. They're going to be playing the Melbourne Storm in the final. They've had a tremendous season, but we're just talking critically for them. We're talking, about, possibly winning comps, going on to bigger and better things, right? But mission accomplished, A++ season for the Bulldogs. But what I sort of didn't take out of this was I need to go to try line. Just so I can see these matchups. Sorry. Just so you got a visual. Oh, they got rid of... Oh, there it is. Line up. Cool. So, yeah, here we go. This will give me a bit of a visual. Now, there was try scorers too. The try scorers were... Let me get... Okay, so Preston, Burton, Preston. Now, when the game started... I think Doggies had some good field position or something, right? Anyway, when I was sitting there watching, I was like, whoa. The Panthers' defensive line was atrocious. And I'm just going to point, so these guys aren't in a straight line, so I won't do it perfectly good justice, but the Gaia, Cole, that second rower, 5'8", and second rower, number 7 spot, where they defend on that edge, on both sides was a muck. One was sliding, one was... it was just... They were all over the place. And I went... This is before a point's been scored, by the way. I went, whoa, there is unlimited points there. Unlimited points. It was wrong every time. If you actually go back, if you just watch the highlights, you watch them, and every time a try is scored, they don't even know what's going on. It was actually that bad. I thought they defended well in the middle. The edge scramble defense was pretty good as well. But I just mean, being on the same page and stuff like that. They were way off. So it's no surprise to me that there was those tries there. But that's why I'm not that impressed with the scoreline, because I was like, every team in the comp would have exploited that, I think. Except for maybe the Titans and the Knights. Like, I'm being serious. Like, actually, they probably would have too, to be honest. It was actually atrociously bad. Like I thought Penrith did an incredible job, like the junior Penrith team. But it was it was really, really bad. But having said that, the Bulldogs did exploit it and did a good job of it. They did. But Matt Burton went through that same channel when he got his try as well. The only one that I don't think went through that channel was the Galvin one. I can't remember where that went through, but there was 3 on one side, 1 on the other, and I can't remember where the Galvin one went. But that's why I wasn't overly impressed, because that was the only thing they really exploited through the whole game. And I think it was the last Preston one where the number 6, who was the 6, Cole. He's just standing there. He's literally he doesn't even know where to go. So that was just the thing I noticed, where I was like, man, like their attack was a bit clunky, but then when they did find those corridors through there, they did punch a few tries through. But look, I don't want to bash the Bulldogs, but just it's definitely not clinical. And this was the thing I was saying. Like, I have no issue with them bringing Hayward in. I have no issue with them bringing Galvin in. I just didn't understand why they had to do it then, because they're clearly still trying to work stuff out. I heard Sorrell say, I think he's coming along nicely. You don't want to be coming along anything coming into the finals, bro. You want it locked. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is what you're doing. Like, Canberra aren't working on combinations now. Melbourne aren't working on combinations now. Broncos sort of are, but it's more through injuries. But, even, the Sharkies, they're not working on combinations now. Warriors, they're not. You get what I'm saying? Like, they're playing footy. This is our team. So, I personally think Reid Marnie, and that's coming from me, is a better option at number 9 than Hayward. Hayward's probably going to be a much better player. But I'm pretty sure I said this in my preview. Like, he's like, having Reid Marnie on the bench is such a waste. His 2 best things: he's a workhorse. He'll get you a ton of minutes at high energy, and he passes the ball off the deck real nice. And Hayward, it's not like he's so crafty. You get what I'm saying? Like it's sort of, if Reid has one flaw, it's that he can fall away at the back end of big games. Did it with Parramatta a bit, and he did it last year in the finals against the Manly and a couple games prior to the finals. That's the perfect opportunity to bring him off and bring Hayward on. Like, I really, you get what I'm saying? It's sort of like, it's almost like, man, Hayward's been really good coming on for that last 20 minutes of the game or whatever, or he's been coming on at that lock, and everyone's like, put him in for the whole game then. Like, bro, it can, when you're fresh coming on in the last 20 minutes of the game, it can be easy to look pretty good from time to time. You know what I mean? Like, 3/4 of the dudes out there are 60, 70 minutes into a game. Of course you look fast. Of course you look this. Of course you look that, So, I don't get that. What was the other thing? Yeah, the other thing as well, which I hate what they're doing, is that Critter thing at fullback. Like, tinkering with that. Like, Critter's a centre, bro. I know, like, when centres are really good, people, we need to get their hands on the ball more. I've seen him play fullback at Penrith. I've seen him play at Samoa. He's a centre. He's the best centre in the world. There was a try which I guarantee that Critter would have scored, but Connor Tracy went to his position in centre. So this is the thing. So this is why I don't like it, right? Connor Tracy had the ball, a competent enough ball skills, speed, all that stuff to create that. But then he gave it to Connor Tracy, who didn't have the physicality or strength of Tracy to score that. You get what I mean? Like, they've just reversed it for no reason, and a try didn't come off the back of it because they swapped it for some reason. Like, Connor Tracy can run to the line and pass to a guy who's in a half gap on an edge. Like, that doesn't have to be Crichton doing that. That's not Scott Drinkwater ball playing where he'll dig and go and throw a triple cutout ball on a dime. Like, dig into the line, stop and go bang and throw it. Like, Connor Tracy can do everything that Crichton's been doing there, but Connor Tracy can't finish the tries. Like, Stephen Crichton bungled Katoni Staggs in a grand final. Like, went through him, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Katoni Staggs, bro. Like, what are you doing? I don't get it. So, again, the only issues I really have with Bulldogs right now is the tinkering. You know, that's it. But besides that, I'm pretty happy with them. I didn't think anyone was incredible other than Preston, who ran those beautiful lines, and also Satili Tupanua. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. But, yeah, we're going to have to see how the Bulldogs go. They've got... Who they got next week? Well, they've got a team that wants to win, don't they? I guess they don't have to win, but still. Yeah. As far as the Panthers go, not much to say. I just found it interesting, them kicking to touch. I thought that was actually really smart, and it sort of did take Bulldogs out of their systems. It was quite... I found it quite hilarious, just because if anyone knows the Bulldog system, it'd be Penrith, since it's been taken from there. And they went, I know exactly what they want to do. They want to get in a grind. They want to grind us down. They want to play the field position game. They want to keep the ball in play. Sweet. We'll do the opposite. We'll boot the ball out from anywhere. We don't care. Start again from a set start. See how you go. And it worked. I mean, they didn't have the personnel to... Ivan Cleary's a coach, bro. He can coach, man. He really did. Like, he really threw them off. Like, just think about this for a sec, boys. This is the New South Wales Cup team up against the team coming third, who's been on top of the table all year. Penrith had a man in the sin bin and they only got 2 tries. Like, that's, you know, like, it worked. Like, it just, obviously they didn't have the manpower to win the game or anything like that, but you can't say it didn't work. That's pretty smart from old Ivans. But great win. Doggies, big game next week. Where is that next game, actually? We've got to see that. Please be a Doggies home game. Please be a Doggies home game. Please be a... Yeah, buddy! Shout out the Dogs this year too, man. Dogs fans, sorry. Yeah, you've pumped the NRL's total numbers up. It's going to be a record. Massive record this year. Every club's up, but Bulldogs substantially up. So, shout out the Bulldogs fans for making the NRL a more watchable product from home as well. It's better to watch when there's a full stadium at home, boys. So, shout out the Doggies fans. Wars the Eels, look. When I tipped the Wars in this one, I thought Parramatta played substantially better at footy than the Wars sort of had been. But the issue I thought they were going to have was them being consistent. Like, that's normally what happens with these bottom teams, right? They give you a flash and go, ooh. But then, you know, we just talked about them. Why the Doggies are close to the top table, they're just very consistently good. You know, they have 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Whereas, you know, the teams at the bottom, they're like, man, they look like a top 4 team. And then they look like the bottom 4 team, you know, and it goes like that. So, but when they came out in this game, I was like, oh my Lord, they look good again. Like, immediately, I was like, they look really good again. Josh had a few things against the run of play, but, you know, there are a couple tries. I believe the Jack Williams and Adokar try were both against the run of play. But just the way they were shooting the ball around. Like, for example, if you put that, like, the way Eels have played up next to, say, like, who's a top team? Like the Sharks, like, you know, a top-ish team. Parramatta are playing substantially sharper. Like, just digging, they're just like ripping the ball out in front. Like, it's actually really, really crisp. It was crazy. But Lek Ellis, do you know what I loved about this game too, boys? This is what I loved about it, right? So we're seeing the new guard come through, right? This game was pretty even, right? Yeah, very even. But I just loved how we got 2 debutants that broke the game open. Not debutants, rookies. Like, Leka gets them back into it. Leongi gets them back out in front, and then like it's just awesome seeing these young guys come through, man. Like, I've been hearing about them for a while, not just from the Wars, from everywhere, just saying that's why when people say, oh, is there enough talent to go around? I'm like, absolutely. There's so many good guys getting around there that aren't getting a crack. This guy, like, I'll tell you now, if the Dolphins didn't open up, like, there might not have been enough, you know what I mean, spots to go around, because there's not just 13 blokes that make up a footy team, you know, there's 30, you know, 30 to 40, you know, even more, I guess, because you got guys in cup. But you know, with the expansion, we're just going to get these new super exciting guys that may not have even got a run or may not have got a run until they're like 25. And do you know how many guys give up when they get to 22, 23? Because they're like, man, oh, like maybe not that old. Well, yes, that old, but some guys give up well before that, you know? Like they get to 20, 21, they're like, well, I haven't played a grade game yet. I'll give it up. Or I'll give up all that extra work I've been doing because you know, you then have to get a job and rah. But anyway, I don't know why I digress there. Anyway, it was awesome watching the Young Bucks go to work in this one. Yeah, I loved. Oh, I just got to look at his final stats. How did he not get the most run meters? I was about to say Roger Tuivasa-Sheck must have run for over 300. And then see, that is insane. Let's come to these run meters. These are going to be insane. 328. Oh, Roger ended up 3.299. They must have taken a couple meters off him. Wow. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is low-key having close to a Dally M Winger of the Year performance. Not the best, but you know what I mean? They give 2. So, mate, he's putting together a crazy performance. He really has. Yeah, but look, Warriors fans, yeah, it's just going to be tough. I'm just happy. Look, the cool thing for Waz is, and what I'm happy about, and shout out to Penrith for pretty much conceding that game, was Waz get a home final. I really think their fans deserve it. They've been showing up all winter. Just remember, boys, it's not tropical Queensland over there, boys. It's cold. And they're selling that thing out every week. It's raining, it's windy, whatever. They're there, and I really do think they deserve it, especially with this effort with these key players out. I really think they deserve it. But yeah, it's just awesome to see. I've got to check Eels running numbers now too. Are they anything close to those? Oh, I thought it said 404. Way down. Oh, that's post contact. Zach Lomax, bro. 24 carries. Jeez. 24 carries for 240. That means every carry was over 10 metres. Well, bang on 10 metres pretty much. That's pretty good. Now, I've been super impressed with these two guys here, Tuolungi and Jack Williams. This Tuolungi guy, I've been really high on him, but he keeps... Last year, I think he kept getting little injuries, and this year he keeps getting little suspensions. So he hasn't got a really good, nice bit of footy on him, but he's nice. Man, I'm really excited for Eels next year, because even... Who's this dude down here? We've got that... Oh, who's that guy? The big Islander guy, I can't remember his name. Tuivati? I think his name might be. He looks nice. But even this guy's been around a minute. Oh, Guyman was good too. This Matt Dury, he's got some nice speed, eh? Parramatta look like they're going for these... They're almost big second rowers. They're not a traditional front rower build. You know, like, I don't, like, just for example, I think if a young Junior Paulo would be coming onto the market, they'd be looking more for, you know, your Duries and your Guymers well, obviously they're playing Hopgood in the front row as well. You know, so I like it. The more mobile, like, Dury's still a monster, but you know what I mean? Like, you take 5 kilos, like, he's a slightly above average size second rower maybe, you know, so I really like it. It looks nice, it looks fast, it looks crisp, they're mobile, it's handy. Now, Waz, who we got? We got a Seagulls next week. Now, Manly technically will be still in the fight, so they might really, and it's at 4 points. Now, I don't think they can drop any further, can they? No, they can't. Oh, cool. Guaranteed home final. Sweet. Maybe they should rest some players. Everyone rest up. Have a week off, boys. Have a week off, seriously. Nah, don't do that. But I tell you what, with the way injuries have been going. But no, look, I was relatively impressed with what was like Parramatta way better than... Oh, they're in the 12th. Damn, Parramatta was like nearly... I was sitting there not long ago. I was very worried they might take the spoon off the Titans for my bet. Or just quietly too on that, boys. Oh, I forgot to get to that. Sorry, I know I'm digressing. I'm all over the place here. But I thought Knights were going to win that game, and I was sitting there going, "Yes, 11 grand," and then they lost it. And then I thought Titans were going to win. I was like, "No!" I was so What a roller coaster today it was. Maybe that's why I love today's games. Maybe they were both slingers, but I was just excited. But Wars fans, I'd love to see you get a home final and even progress through at least one round. I really would. It'd be just awesome. It'd be good because they'll get a home fan for their New Zealand fans, and obviously they've got a lot of Aussie fans in Australia. So if they win that game, come to Australia, they'll get a big crowd wherever they go as well. So shout the Wars. Roosters versus Storm. Now, Roosters' first win over Melbourne Storm this decade. That'd have to be like this 2020s. Man, the funny thing was, in my post-game, my TikTok one, right, boys, I was sitting there going, oh, I thought they were pretty good, eh? Just got blown away a little bit at the end there. Maybe I'm just wrong about the Melbourne Storm, no matter they win or they lose. Like, whenever I'm like, I'm not mad at that for Melbourne. Everyone's like, what are you talking about? And when they win a game, but I'm like, oh, I'm not that brilliant. What are you talking about? I'm like, man, I must just be wrong about the Melbourne Storm, no matter what they do. Maybe I'm just looking at the wrong game. Maybe I'm watching the B grade play or something, and I'm not actually watching the games. But I thought they were all right. But Bellamy's come out and was like, man, I was embarrassed. I was this, I was that. I was like, whoa. Like, in that first half, man, that defense was something else, man. Like it was. Man, Roosters were throwing a lot at them. And I was sitting there going, man, these boys are missing 5 or 6, maybe 7 players. I reckon they're awesome. But then after the game, how he said how embarrassed he was and stuff, I was like, damn. I was sort of, you know what I mean? I was sort of impressed. I thought this could have been, I was almost, yeah. The only reason I took Melbourne in this game was because, well, one reason was the Roosters don't beat them very often, but it was because it was Craig Bellamy's 600th in Melbourne. I was like, bro, that's just a game Melbourne don't lose. That was the driving factor for me taking the Storm, So, they had a lot of players out. They really did. So, but yeah, worst half of footy from a Melbourne Storm team. 40 points. That's, not a record you want. But, look, I'm sort of at this was my train of thought with the point I was trying to get across was, right, I haven't been that impressed with Storm's defense. And just even though this ended up being 40 points, I saw a good 50-minute chunk of this game where I was like, that's premiership winning defense. And I was sitting there going, it doesn't matter whose name's on the back of the jersey. I know they don't have names on the back of the jersey, but you catch my drift. There's some pride in their defense tonight, And I just was like, I think that's a really good sign for them to going on to win the comp, because they've had wins this year and they've been convincing wins, but I'm sitting there watching their defense going, it doesn't look like competition winning defense, Again, we might just have to lower our standards because we've got so used to seeing Penrith, the style of defense you have to play to win a comp, and it's just, maybe you don't have to be that good defensively to win a comp. But yeah, so Roosters, man, I was just 2 benches. I've been so impressed with Roosters and the Sharks bench, bro. The Sharks bench. I was so impressed with Butcher. Which one? I always forget the Butcher brothers' names. Egan Butcher, mate. Sua Wong, Blake Steep. They added so much when they came on, man. They really did. And Nafahu White, what a monster. I really enjoyed this battle between Chan and Angus Crichton as well. That was really cool to watch, man. I really enjoyed that one. But Nwangane Tuase, bro. Can we please just scour Australian Rugby Sevens. Now, he played for the actual Wallabies too, didn't he? Fijian Sevens, whatever, because he is so good to watch, man. I just love footy being played. I really do. It's special, man. He's another guy whose first year it is, bro. This is his first proper year, man. He played, 1 game last year? 2, maybe? Bloody cool, man. I absolutely loved it. But now Roosters, let's get to the nitty-gritty now. They're going to have to beat the Bunnies. When is it? Friday night footy. How good. Wow. That's going to be huge, boys. Who would have thought, man? final round. Roosters have to. Well, they don't have to win, but know what I mean. You know what I mean? They've got two teams nipping at their heels. Well, one really, but damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. And then the Panthers have with the Dragons at Wynn Stadium. But yeah, that was a cracking game. But yeah, look, Roosters, I've been pretty damn impressed with, to be fair. But I'm not. The reason why I don't think they can win the comp right now is, right, like if someone said, do you think the Roosters could win the comp? I'm like, probably not. And I've seen a lot of people saying after that performance they can, but there's just a crappy performance somewhere. You can't do that in the finals. They're playing from outside the 8. You got to win 4 games in a row against top 8 teams. One bad game, you're gone. So that's my concern with the Roosters. Like, they could come out round 1 and play. Who they playing? Sharks? No. Who would they play? They'd play, Sharks. They could put 40 on the Sharks. I still wouldn't be overly convinced they win the comp because who knows? Like, they could just lose to the Doggies or whoever the next week. So that's what I'm a little concerned. They have put patches together, but yeah, it's just a little concerning. So we'll see how they look next week. If they put a real nice performance on, it might sway me a little bit. But yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see, boys. I'm on the fence a little bit with the Roosters, but I tell you what, I'm pretty impressed with how good they look at their best. That's the scary thing. That's what I think most people are doing. They look at the Roosters' best and go, that's premiership winner footy right there. But they sort of, you skip those little bad games in between. But yeah, they're a bloody good team to watch when they're on, I tell you what. Raiders versus the West Tigers. Now, I already spoke about it. What a Canberra Raiders fans, you should just be so proud of your team, man. Like, that was a historic run. Like, I know we in Australia, like in our code, not Australia, but our code, we, it's not like, something like, I believe in the football, soccer, it's just whoever finishes on top at the end, they're the winner, you know what I mean? And it goes up and down from there. But yeah, like, winning the minor premiership is a big deal. Like, being the best team, most consistent team over a full-length season of the footy is a really good accomplishment. And Canberra Raiders have dominated a decade, and this is only the second time they've done it. Like, Canberra Raiders dominated for, late 80s to mid-90s? Late mid-90s? They've only won once. Like, this is huge. You should be super proud. And look, I'll call it now. Like, I think they're my team most likely to play the grand final this year. All right, so this is going to sound negative, what I'm about to say, but I don't mean it to be. But Canberra Raiders did have the easiest draw this year, okay? They played the least amount of top 8 teams from last year, but that's the negative part. That's not the negative part. I'm not trying for it to be negative, but I know Canberra Raiders fans will take that as a negative thing. They played 5 top 8 teams. They played 5 top 4 teams this year, and they won 4. That's an 80% win rate against top 4 teams. That's, again, what did I just say? Like, if they're going to win the comp this year, do you know what they have to do? They have to win 3 games in a row against top 4 teams. Boys, like Canberra, buy your grand finals tickets. Seriously. Like, every year, like, when, like, because obviously YouTube and stuff, people ask me questions. They're like, do you think so-and-so can win the comp? And I'm like, no. Like, why? I'm like, they can't. They've won 1 game against top 4 teams. How are they going to win 3 or 4? Like, if you're from the outside the 8, you have to beat a top 8 team and then 3 top 4 teams in a row. What, you think all of a sudden they're going to be able to beat top 4 teams, do you? Of course they can't win the comp. What are you talking about? I don't care who they pumped by 30 last week. Like, they're not winning the comp. And this is the thing too. So, and this, back to the having the easy draw or whatever. It's not like, so there's been a couple of years where the Sharkies, for example, they had the easiest draw. They pumped all the bottom teams, and then they lost those top 4 teams. Won enough games to finish in 3rd or 4th or whatever. Canberra haven't done that. Like, Canberra have pumped the top teams. They just dropped a few games along the way to some teams outside the 8. This is like, they 100% deserve this spot. They didn't come first by only beating bad teams. They beat all the top teams. only lost one game to the Bulldogs, which Stephen Crichton has played some of the best footy in the 2020s we've ever seen. He had his best game he's ever had against the Canberra Raiders this year. It was without a doubt his best ever game, and and it took that to beat them. So man, shout out to Canberra, seriously. Good to see Corey Horsburgh get off his nude run, but this is the thing that impresses me too is like these guys, man. Mariota, like this kid here, Sasangi, bro, he's a big second rower. Normally when second rowers go into centre, like they can do it, but you're like, ugh, don't quite look right, eh? He looks great. Like all these guys, like they're just so good. Like I won't pay this. I don't even know Noah Martin got on, but just Morgan Smithy's like second year in, I think. He's like they're all playing so good. This is Canberra's year. Like every year it's your year. Like I use the Broncos for example for 2023 because it's probably the most recent one. But sometimes your whole team has their best year. You get what I mean? Like that Broncos year. Because previous years I was like, man, Jordan Ricky's been. I was like, I don't know if they can win a comp with, Billy Walters there, man. Like, you know what I mean? I'm sitting there going, like, this is before the season started. All of them had just, was Billy Walters the best 9 in the comp? No, but he had his best season by an absolute mile. Jordan Ricky had his best season by an absolute mile. You get what I mean? And everyone just leveled up a bit. And then all of a sudden, you're in the grand final, and it's just your year. And then the following year, a couple players just down a little bit and you can dip off again. But this is theirs. Maybe it's not Papali'i's best year, but I tell you what, it's not far off. And that's saying something because he's been around a real long time. He really has. Yeah, what else have I got? So, Canberra, I just heard this. I don't know I heard someone else saying, I don't know if it's true, but apparently might rest players for next week. And they're going to play, who's it looking like? Broncos, that's a tough one. But it's better than the Penrith Panthers. That would have been tougher. I know Panthers have just lost 3 games in a row, but I'm pretty sure everyone would agree with me there. Or possibly Sharkies. So I can't remember from the top of my head how they went against those guys this year. I think they pumped the Sharkies, but I can't remember. But look, they look great. They really do. Onto the Tigers. I'm so impressed with them, especially since the Lockie Galvin thing. They've mixed it up. I don't actually they mixed it up with Canberra here. They really did. Like Canberra were trying to lift that shield that day. They really were. And they've mixed it up with them twice this year. Remember they lost 16-10 the last time they played. I'm really, really excited for them next year. A full year with all the Fainus getting proper first grade rugby league under their belts. Tyrrell May, it just looked awesome. Paul Air, this Fainu here, this Sam Wetler, he was probably the most dangerous dude on the park. Hudson Young and Zach Hoskins had incredible games. I think Sam Wellers was better. And that's not knocking these guys. That's just, he was so dangerous. Absolute freak, man. Seriously. I loved the heat this Shakur and Royce Hunt brought. Shakur, love that bit of aggressiveness. And yeah, they were right in this thing. And I'm so excited for them next year. I really am. I'm so excited to see Taylor May have a full camp with the Tigers. I feel like this is a season, even though they're, what do they end up, what are they? They're coming bloody 13th or something? 11th. A little better than I thought. This to me is a season where you could go, we can build on this. And you go into your Mad Monday, whatever, you have a month off footy to it, but you start thinking about footy. Sometimes, from what I've heard, I've never played NRL, sometimes you don't want to go into pre-season camps. I think the Tigers are going to be pumped. They're going to be like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? And I really hope they do. I'm backing you in, West. I'm backing you in. You're going to play finals next year, all right? I'll put you in my top 8. As long as they don't get a tremendously bad draw and they lose some players in the preseason or something like that, I'm going to take the Tigers and make the top 8. I really hope they do it. All right, on to the next game, guys. Dragons versus the Sea Eagles. Man. Yeah, I've written down here, man, he didn't win by enough. Look. Oh, bloody Tohu Kola. How good is that kid? I mean, seriously. He's a freak, man. But look, again, every time I watch... Sorry, the last 2 weeks, maybe 3, I've watched the Manly Sea Eagles play. The last 2 weeks, I'm just sitting here going, this is just so frustrating. Like, this year, I'd be so angry if I was a Manly fan, because this was like similar to I mentioned about the Raiders, how this is their year. This was sort of their year as well. Like, I just mentioned it, like they had I mentioned the Canberra Raiders draw. The Sea Eagles one was just as easy. They didn't lose any State of Origin players. Like, this was set up well. They lost Cherry Evans for 1. A few injuries to front rowers, like key, like not key spots, but you get what I mean. Like they were a little short of timber in the middle. And then they should be in that top 4 hunting spot at the moment. And it's just frustrating to watch. Especially, the thing that frustrated me most is how they're playing both sides now. Like, Tohu Kola scored 17 tries this year, right? I don't think they passed the ball to Tohu Kola on the left in any sort of field position 17 times in the first half of the season. I'm not joking. I know that's Snag exaggerating a stat to be funny. No. How Tohu Kola has scored 17 tries this year is beyond me, because they only go right. The only reason they go left is to open up their right and go back to it. And now in the last 2 months, they've been like, bro, Tohu Kola's pretty quick, eh? Do you know we should give him some ball in like decent field position? And he is unstoppable. I was about to say unguardable. I've got NBA 2K on my mind, boys. I'm grinding. Level 40's coming in soon. But yeah, it's just I've been really frustrated with them. I really have been. But yeah, Tohu Kola. Did anyone know what his injury ended up being? If you could let me know in the comments, that would be awesome. But yeah, man, it's just frustrating. But I really enjoyed Cherry Evans playing with Waddell on that right. And look, this is the reason I do understand why they go right so much. Like, you got Olakau'atu there, bro. And the media used to spread, what? Olakau'atu only ever... He should be getting the ball more. Bro, like, let him play. You don't have to spam Olakau'atu just because he's a beast. Like, you know, like, make his run... I'd rather Olakau'atu have 10 really impactful runs than 15, 16, 17. You know what I mean? Like, no, not 10. But you guys get what I'm saying. As far as the Dragons went, man, look... I'm trying to be positive, but they're outgunned. Like, they're just outgunned, and they've had a rough, tough old season. They've been in a ton of wars. You know, they're limping to the finish line. But I thought they did a great job on Turbo. Turbo was in a mood, and they actually did a pretty good job of shutting him down. But I just mentioned Waddell, bro. This dude needs to learn how to. This guy. I mentioned Penrith Panthers defense in those halves positions. These King Tonga dudes was worse, and at least they've got the excuse for being a cup team. Like, this is great, bro. Like, and they were just strolling. Like, he's got to sort out his defense if he wants to continue to be an NRL player. But they battled, man. They've had a lot of wins against top 8 teams. They've had a lot of losses by less than 6 teams. I honestly think Dragons can hold their head up high in this for this season. I really do. So shout out to the Dragons. Cowboys Broncos, man, I love those Cowboys jerseys, man. I love the NRL's, like, I mean they've always sort of done fun jerseys from time to time, but I've just been really enjoying them lately. I think they're awesome. I thought right here, how good has Stag's been, bro? But I thought right here that it was going to be 100-0. I was like, oh my lord, that looks easy. And then Broncos just let them back in. And then they kick away again, let them back in, kick them back in, let them in. And a lot of that was because of Walsh, but his numbers in the end, 200 metres, 5 line break assists, 2 try assists, 8 tackle breaks, 5 errors. Oh, man. I don't care, though, man. Like, seriously. I know it's the sort of footy I want to watch, bro. You know, like, when Penrith were doing their thing and the beating team, no, they weren't even beating teams 18-4. That was more of a Melbourne thing in the 2010s, but it was cool. But I want to see some gunslingers. I want to see gunslingers, you know. And this was exciting, man. But it was good to see Vayala doing his thing. And bloody, look at that halftime score, man. That's a full-time score in the 2010s. If you're lucky, that's a high-scoring game if you're Melbourne. No, Sharkies, they were the really low-scoring team, weren't they, in the 2010s? Winning games like 10-4 and stuff. Scored 1 try, kicked 3 penalty goals. Oh, man. But, yeah, look, Cows, man, it was funny. I was just loving this game, and then they kept panning to the both coaching boxes, and they just looked dead inside, like they were husks. Like, did they even listen to anything I said this week? That was the look on their faces. Like, are these boys actually listening when I speak? I'll tell you what, but I loved it. It was bloody awesome. It was bloody awesome to watch. That Payne Haas try, man, that was something else as well. A few Payne Haas's tries, right? I remember he scored one once, and they replayed it like 700 times, played it on the news, I was just like, bro, that was not that good. Like, but that one was sick. Like, there was 5 dudes on the ground, and usually they're like diving through the line with guys hanging off him. Nah, he's just jogging, boom. But I'll tell you who else I loved as well, who I think was as good as Payne Haas in his prime, was Jason Taumalolo, man. How good was it to see him back and doing his thing? Like, you know, he clearly doesn't have the mobility he once had, and he's put on a few kegs. But I tell you what, if you're new to rugby league, just Google Jason Taumalolo highlights, and you'll be bloody impressed. He was something else, that kid. I remember when he came in the league, 19, babyface, got himself a little gold tooth, the Tongan gold tooth. I asked my Samoan mate, I'm like, why do Tongans always get a gold tooth? And he goes, they think it's fancy. I'm like, okay. Cool answer, bro. Just hating on Tongans. I don't know if that's the reason why they get it, but that's what my Samoan mate said. But yeah, he was something else. But, man, I tell you, with McLean leaving, how old's this kid? Oh, he's 27. That's about right, though. That's about right. All right, I want him back down to this weight because he's clearly put on a few kegs. He is nice. They're going to need a front row to step up. Have they got, Cowboys fans, if you're watching, have they got anyone coming? Because I don't know if you noticed, but Cowboys are right in this. When Taumalolo, who's getting on himself and missing plenty of games now as well, Taumalolo and McLean went off, I was like, oof. And then just a reminder too to Cowboys fans for next year, you now have the worst defender in the league coming to your team, Reid Marnie. Now, Reid Marnie, he can tackle, but he is tiny. Like, the reason why he never really got found out at the Eels, and he got found out heavily at the Bulldogs, is because they had beastie middles. Like, this is what they had: Oregon, Kafusi, Payne Haas, Nakora. Like, that Parramatta forward pack. Everyone was like, oh, Reid Marnie and what was the other player who left? They're like, that's why they're trash. I'm like, bro, it had nothing. They lost two weapons. Like, Nikora's a beast, bro. And so is Kafusi. There was someone else too they lost. Anyway, catch my drift. He was surrounded by big body. Oh, Regan Campbell-Gillard. That was later, but they had Regan Campbell-Gillard there as well. You know, they had, like, Sharks have a beastie forward pack. And Oregon Kafusi was on the bench. And Nakora was as well. They used to come on. You know, and then they went to other teams and were just immediately starting. Like, that's how good the Parramatta's forward pack was back then. You know, so Cowboys are in a bit of trouble. And they also lose Reece Robson, who's a gun. They're training out one of the best defensive nines from the worst, and they lose McLean. Man, with the coach with a bit of pressure on him, I don't want to like be too negative here, but if they get off to a bad start, that could be really hard to reel back in. Do they get anyone next year, the Cowboys? But even if they don't, they need that McKeely dude to, really step up. They really do. What else about the game? I can't really, I just remember being thoroughly entertained. I really do. Nanai was just rocks and diamonds. It's like Reese. Yeah, Reese bloody... Everyone wants to talk about Reese, but I've just sort of... It's never really been a talking point for me because I've been watching him since the Warriors. Well, before that even. He's always been like that. Like when he went to the Broncos, everyone was like, "We're going to win the comp." I was like, and they got a lot closer than I thought they were going to. But I was like, "We've seen Reese play, bro. Like he'll get you 5 try assists, but he'll do 5 errors in a game." And everyone's like, "No, man, have you seen him?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Yeah, he can get that out of his game." I'm like, "All right." Like here we are, 3 years later, exactly the same. But I love it. It's awesome. As someone who doesn't go for the Broncos and just loves watching entertaining rugby league, I absolutely love it, man. Broncos moving to 4th. Now, I've just wrapped the Cowboys something chronic. I mean, the Raiders something chronic. Now, we've got to have a look, don't we? How did they come? Obviously came up against each other this year at least once. Okay, so they beat them in round 2. I can't really take the top 5 games into consideration. Like, it's just so long ago, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But did they play again? I mean, I count it. Like, awesome win Canberra Raiders, I count it. But you get what I'm saying? I can't sit here and be like, yeah, the form guide is this. Yeah, no, they only played them that once at the start of the year. Okay? So we don't get much of a read out of that. It's not that they played them 5 weeks ago or something, or 6 weeks ago. But they won. So Canberra, man, it's going to be a tough. I think Broncos can win it, but they're going to have to play some steely footy. They can't. I don't think they're going to out fancy the Raiders because they've got that fanciness, but they also play within themselves a bit. You know, like they've won games 16-10 and they've won games 50-10. You know, like did I say 16-10 and yeah, that's what I meant to say. 16-10 and 60-10. You know, like yeah, they can. Canberra can do it all styles. You know, so they can play the longer. Yeah, highly interesting. I can't wait for that one. And just being real, if I had to pick today, right this second, someone put a gun to my head and said pick, I'll be like Canberra. Like they've beat every top 8 team this year just about, and they've been smoking top 4 teams. But I'm going to have to think about it because I really do think Broncos can win that. I really do. Sharks Knights. Was this a lot? No. We cashed this one too, didn't we? Bloody getting a little worried there for a minute. I needed Sharks to score the most tries in the first half. They score these 2. I'm like, oh my god, you kidding me, man? Then just Talakai. Final minutes. How good was that? Man, look, everyone was sort of saying I wasn't impressed with the Sharkies and that. I actually was. I was pretty impressed. I wasn't. People think because you have a bye, you're magically like just going to roll into the next week and be awesome. Like you can come out flat after a bye, and they did definitely look flat. And the Knights just took advantage of it. Sharks clearly the better team. When Knights Ford's front row went off, and Sharkies come on, oh my god, clear night and day who the better team was. You know, like shout out to Sharkies bench. I mentioned the bench of who did I mention the bench of earlier? Was it Canberra? No, I can't remember. Anyway, this bench here went sick. Uele's lost weight. Hazelton's always great thing, and Siffer. They took 35 carries between them in that little period, like 25 odd mid-period, and just battered the Knights through the middle. It was one of the best performances from a bench I've ever seen. Roosters bench is who I was talking about before. This was better. This was absolutely, they battered them. It was just 3 Pistons, bang, 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 and they went to work, and it was something else to watch. It really was. If I had to guess, I'd say, I hate when I do this because the stats always don't back up what I'm saying. But I know I'm right in this situation, but they're a little down. But I was going to say their back five wouldn't have to do a ton of work. Mulatalo did have a big runaway try, which would have made that 200 metres, by the way. But you get what I'm saying. A lot of these guys can be close to 200. But still, it's pretty damn close. But it sort of backs up what I'm saying. But yeah, they were incredible. Ueli looks, honestly, the best he's looked in years. He looks like he's put down the fork, not having his third serving. And he looks lean, he looks aggressive, he's hitting, he's using his shoulders. Like, he looks real nice. He really does. But yeah, now we have the injury to Trindle. Oh, sorry, I didn't say this in my post-game. I wanted to say this as well. Another contributing factor to I think Sharky's coming out a little flat was, I mentioned this last week when McInnes went out. McInnes plays really, he's a captain, and he plays very direct through the middle. You can tell by the way his face looks, right? He really makes sure they play really straight through the middle. He understands that in the first 20 minutes, Sharkies were going from side to side to side. I think they missed that, whatever, McInnes through the middle, because McInnes is like, give me it, run in behind the ruck, fast play the ball, roll, and it sort of happens. And it did take their bench to come on and sort of start playing that way. Siffer just came on and went, give it. ULA give it, Hazelton give it. They only know one way. So I think that really straightened them up. But they're going to have to sort that out because McInnes is is a big part of that team. Like I don't know if you guys remember when Cleary, it was this year, it was the Panthers in thing. Like Cleary purposely ran at McInnes to take him out of the final play so Isaiah Yeo could run through the middle without McInnes there because he does so much the clean-up work. Like they knew if we can get Isaiah Yeo the ball, AFB and stuff's probably not going to tackle him low and chop him. They're going to go up top, and it's very hard to stop Isaiah Yeo up top. He's such a colossus. If McInnes is there, he would have chopped his legs, bang, the thing would have gone up the top, AFB or whoever, wrapped him up and they would have stopped him. But that's what I'm saying. Like McInnes does all that gritty, dirty stuff in the middle. He knows how to win games, pump through the middle, go through the middle. He's chopping blokes through the middle when he's defending. So I just think they struggled to adapt to that a little bit as well. That's why I thought they were a little slow out of the blocks. But look, it was a pretty damn good performance. I mean, at the end of the day, once they got on top of that, they won 40-6. So a little flat start, I can forgive them for that. They're going to be. I was about to say they're going to be a problem in the finals. I don't see them as a big problem, but they could rattle some cages. But the only thing that's okay, let's forget that they've just sort of been bounced from the finals just about every time the last 3 or 4 years. If we just forgot that and we looked at their footy, it's pretty good footy. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see with the Sharks. It's just because they've done it so many times. They've just finished right in around there where they are right now and just never been a real threat. It's hard to take them as a threat. And that's just my opinion right now. So, as far as the Knights go, look, I'll do a wrap-up on them. Let's wrap this video up. I'll do a proper wrap on the Knights, but I've actually got some positive things to say about the Knights for next year. I don't think they're as bad a shape as everyone thinks. Dolphins, Titans. Look, man, this game was bang. Very similar to the Broncos game. We just had tries galore, man. Like, Kelly, DeGroot, we were bloody a Nasako try away from having a perfect Sunday. Would have been up thousands of dollars. But unfortunately, we did hit Hamaso and DeGroot, both in the first half too. I was sitting there going, we got a whole second half for Nasako to get over. How good's this? What have I written down for this? Yeah. Look, man, this was. Like anyone watches UFC, you're like, someone sort of gets saved by the bell. I genuinely thought that Dolphins got saved by the bell in this one. It was half time. Like, if they just played 80 minutes straight, I honestly think the Titans put 100 on them. They were gone. Every single player was blowing. Titans would just score them whenever they felt like it. They scored 3 tries in about 8 minutes. And it was funny. It felt like, do you know what I felt like? You know how teams say they've only got a good half of footy in them? I feel like Dolphins right now sort of have half of a good half of footy in them. Like, they look great in the first half, fell away, looked great in the first half again. First half of the second half, fell away again. It's just, they're running on fumes, but I tell you what, they're getting a lot out of those fumes. They're there, they're hanging about, and I really hope they make it. I really hope they make it. No disrespect to the Roosters, I just would love to see a new team in there. It'd be huge for the fan base. It'd be huge for rugby league in Brisbane, to having 2 Brisbane teams in here. Not Queensland, Brisbane. I'm not a Queenslander, boys, but I am in Brisbane, and I know it would be buzzing. And you know what? It'd be even buzzing more if somehow the Broncos play. Ooh, that'd be absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. But yeah, look, we'll have to wait and see how it goes with... they're going to have to wait and see how the Roosters go on Friday night. So they're probably going to know their fate, what they're going to be playing for next week. But yeah, look, I honestly gave them no chance of getting this close. They lost their first 4 games in a row. Was it 5? Like, if they won half of those games, how many did they lose? No, I think it was at least 4. I'm pretty sure they lost 4. If they just won 2 of those, just went 50-50, they'd be well into the finals and playing their first finals. But just a slow start. And this is what happens when you have a slow start, boys. Like, they start humming along and motor, but at some point, because you've had to fight for every game sort of becomes must win. And you run out of puff. That's why it's so important to time your run into the finals. And that's, Cleary's been the best at it, getting his team just... Like, I can say without doubt, at least the last 3 years, without doubt, that Penrith Panthers have played their absolute best footy from pretty much round 20 on. You know what I mean? Like, they had... At no point did they look better than they currently are, if that makes sense. Like, they're just like, they'll play a team in round 8 and beat them 16-10, and then they'll play them again in round 22 and it's 60 to... You get what I'm saying? They'll just annihilate them. Like, whoa, that's damn, they took that up. That escalated quickly. So yeah, they're going to have to work all that stuff out if they want to go on to be a genuinely good rugby colossal team, finals bound team. But yeah, look, I really hope they make it. I do. And as far as Titans go, look, I'm happy they lost because, damn, my bet's looking better and better every week. But man, they could have won this, man. Brian Kelly had a stinker, man. Brian Kelly passed the ball off the ground. What was the other thing he did? That forward pass he bombed to Kinney, bro. Oh my God, bro. That was so bad. But man, look, I'm really happy the Titans can just move on from this this horrible Des Hasler bloody chapter in their lives. And I'm really excited to see what they do moving forward because, man, it shouldn't be a hard place to recruit, and there's so many good Gold Coast juniors, man. People go, who's good on the Gold Coast? I'm like, everyone. Go watch Keebra Park play footy on the weekends, bro. Like, the junior rugby league is crazy on the Gold Coast, man. Seriously. But yeah, look, we'll wait and see. I'm praying for you to lose, but I'm praying for a good season from the Titans next year. I really am. So, we'll see how it plays. We'll see who comes into coach. Oh, so Ben Hannay. That's why I'm excited, because I'm just excited for Ben Hannay to come in and get his hands on this team and put a bit of Queensland DNA in it, and hopefully he can muster up some good relationships with some people out there and really get that team humming. But just the roster was constructed poorly. I think Desi overestimated what he was going to get out of them, and it ended up being a season from hell. But come on, Dolphins, you can do it. All right, boys, let's have a look at next week's games quickly. We have Broncos versus Melbourne Storm. We have the Seagulls versus the Warriors. We have the Roosters versus the Rabbitohs. We have the Dragons versus the Panthers. We have the Titans versus the West Tigers. We have the Bulldogs versus the Sharkies. We have the Dolphins versus the Raiders. And then Eels versus the Newcastle Knights. Go the Knights. If Knights win that, I've definitely locked it up. Who have the Titans got? West Tigers. Yeah, nice. Nice. Beautiful. All right, boys, that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.